Morning, everyone. After we stole the shorthorn mic, we can finally start talking because the one that I had wasn't working. We would like to welcome our judge to the arena, Justin Morrison from Brooking Angus. Will be giving us his decisions throughout the day. As you can see, we are underway with the first class in the ring, and that is, of course, heifer calves. And the age split, for your information, is from the 24th of January till the 10th of March. So we've got a good 6 weeks, or a little better, spread in this class. We have 4 splits of heifer calves, I believe, so we'll be bringing 2 out of each split to determine our top heifer calves. And our judge now with his comments on this first split of heifer calves.
Well, good morning, everybody. Certainly a pleasure to be in Brandon again here. And we have a heifer calf at the front of the line that wins this class extremely easily. As soon as she came in, you kind of knew she was going to be a class winner. She has that rib that we're looking for. She's deep from end to end, right from her chest floor back into her flank. You get in behind her, she still has some wealth of muscle and some shape to her. She's broad pin. She has a power that's needed for the breed. But yet one thing that she excels among just about all of them except for the one at the end of the line, she's one of the soundest heifers, just indicating she's a little better in her structure. She has some slope to her shoulder. You know, ideally we just trim her up a little bit through her throat and down her in her brisket for an ideal situation, but definitely wins this class pretty easily. Nice, well-balanced, complete heifer in first. We step behind her and the heifer that matches her the most in terms of shape and muscle. You get in behind her, there's some width to her pins. She's full in her rump, and she has more width down her top than the heifers behind her. She just excels just a little bit in her movement compared to the third place heifer, and she also excels a bit in her rib shape. She's just a little softer through that middle of her rib cage, just having a little more doability about her, but matches up closer to our first place heifer as any. Heifer in third, a real pretty looking heifer. She's got some length to her front end. She's straight in her top. She's just a little hard in her features for me. I'd like to just soften up her rib cage, just drop that rib cage and give her a little more swoop to her belly. But more importantly, she needs to be a little freer on the move. She just short strides a little bit. I realize the heifer in second short strides a bit, but definitely needs to loosen up a little bit more in her movement to be at the top of the class. Right beside her is the black heifer. Probably the weakest in her movement of the class. I'd like to just free her up a little bit on both ends of her structure, more importantly on her front end than her back end. But she does have a little more muscle, a little more shape than probably heifer in front of her and behind her. But and I guess that shape is why she's over the heifer at the end of the line. Heifer at the end of the line, green in her condition, definitely one of the soundest moving in the class just gives up some of that rib and that flank and mask to be higher in this class. But all in all, good group of heifers, especially the one at the front of the line.
I'll make a
It's a delay, so. The results then of that last split. First place went to entry number 708, HFL Rose 920G from Horner Cattle Company. Second place went to 705, Come As You Are Jasmine 932G, bred by Come As You Are. Third place went to 703, Come As You Are Stacy, also bred by Come As You Are. Fourth place to entry 701, JHM Miss 93G from McCrusty Livestock. And fifth place to entry 700 MDL 20B Georgie 915G from Furdale Simmentals. And the age range on the split now in the arena is from the 21st of January till the 17th of January, so just a 4-day split.
Well, without a doubt, we have a strong set of heifers out here in front of us. In reality, all these heifers are real high quality from end to end. The top few heifers definitely made you think a little bit. The heifer out in first here, definitely you can't deny the amount of mass and the volume and the power that she does own. You get in behind her, and she's stout and she's big ribbed. Not only wide ribbed and deep ribbed, definitely a powerful heifer that has a little bit more bone. She's adequate in her movement. Just a real powerful, good representation of the breed in terms of her power and her stoutness. Heifer in second gave me some struggles a little bit. I like this heifer a lot. Definitely a lot greener condition compared to the one in first, and you sometimes need to try to evaluate, the difference of the power on what level that is coming from. But I like this heifer's movements and her freshness. She's got a nice balance. From the profile, she moves quite well. You get in behind her, she's a little narrower at her hock and at her base on the movement. But there's something about this heifer. I do like her balance and her kind. As we step into third place, heifer with, yet a little more power and mass in the heifer in second, but just gives up a little that coordination of her movement. She's a little, definitely short-strided in her structure on both ends in her movement, but definitely a powerful type of a heifer. We go in beside her into a red heifer, just not the same quite a level in terms of that extra high-end structure as the ones in front of her. We'd like to give her just a little more style through her front end and just allow her to hold her head up a little higher naturally on the move, but just a real good solid heifer. Step beside into a blaze face heifer, just a little harder in her makeup. She doesn't have that same sweeping rib and the depth to her body as the ones in front of her, but just a really good type of a heifer. We finish the line with the black heifer that's real attractive made, gives up a little bit of strength to her skull. She's a little narrower at her jaw compared to the ones in front of her, but definitely an attractive type of a heifer that gives up a little bit of shape to her muscle and depth to her hip as the ones in front of her, but definitely a stylish way to end the class. All in all, good group of heifers.
Thank you, Justin. First place in this class goes to entry number 709, HFL Emma 916G from Horner Cattle Company. Second place goes to entry 711, East Poplar Miss Century 917G from East Poplar Simmentals. Third place goes to entry 715, HFL Emma 909G, again from Horner Cattle Company. Fourth place to entry 710, City View 309A Boss Lady 54G from City View Simmentals. Fifth place goes to entry 714, City View 436B, Gracie 46G, again from City View Simmentals. And sixth to entry 712, JPCC Arm Candy 90G from JP Cattle Company. If you're marking your card, we go 1, 4, 2, 6, and 5, and 3. The next class coming into the ring, also our third split of heifer calves, ranging in age from the 13th of January till the 31st of January. Correction, the age split will be from the 13th till the 17th of January. There's a scratch on my card. 850 is not in. And our judge now with his comments on this split.
Well, without a doubt, there's these 6 heifers out here, are all good on their own right. Uh, it wouldn't surprise me if there's several people that had these way different than I did, because there's really a lot of different kinds and types out here, and it's sometimes just trying to follow what you like the best. The heifer out in front here, really nice straight in her line. She has some attractiveness about her. She holds her head high. She has enough rib shape to her. She's clean enough through her throat and fresh through her chest. I like the bone she has, the movement she has. She's definitely really long from end to end. The heifer in second, hard time with this heifer, because without a doubt she's the most powerful in terms of her shape and her rib, the shape to her rib cage and the amount of shape she has to her stifle. For me, I like to make them a little smoother through their shoulder. If I could make her just a little more refined through that shoulder, going both ways, from her shoulder into her neck and her shoulder into her forerib and down into her lower forerib. But more importantly, she's just on the edge in terms of condition for freshness for me and for longevity reasons. And that's why I just went with the Baldy up here in first. Definitely a powerhouse in second. In third place, heifer challenging at times. At times you really like this heifer. She holds her head nice naturally on the move. For me, we just need to change her tail head structure up a little bit. We need to bring that tail head down into her body. If we could change that on her, it would definitely increase her overall quality, because she is long fronted. She's long through her spine and has some rib shape. She's just not as square and tidy through the top of that hip, especially on the ones on either end of her. When we step into fourth place, a heifer, definitely, I maybe criticize the heifer in second on being a little too much condition. This heifer's just a nickel green to compete today. Maybe a heifer maybe designed for a little more long-term look and whatnot, because she is really long and clean through her front end. She's really straight through her spine. She just gives up some of that shape and through that bottom third as the heifer's in front of her to come up high, but definitely attractive heifer in fourth. Heifer in fifth place, heifer that does have more rib, does have a little more bone than the ones in front of her, but she is shorter bodied, not necessarily just only shorter in her front end, but she's shorter from end to end. She's a little shorter in her hip, a little shorter in her front end, and just we really do need to make him have some stretch to him to get the true weight to him. We finish off with a heifer a little greener in her shape, but just doesn't have that same depth of hip and depth of flank as all the heifers in front of her, but definitely a good haired, fresh heifer at the end of the line.
Thank you, Justin. First place in this class goes to entry number 716, Double Bar D Morgan 430G from Longview, Angus. Second place to entry 717, HFL Emma's Pride 908G, Horner Cattle Company. Third place to entry 718, Come As You Are Mia 905G from Come As You Are. Fourth place to entry 721, Double Bar D Bell 418G from Rock Springs Show Cattle. Fifth place to entry 719, East Poplar Night Lady 912G from East Poplar Simmentals. And sixth place to entry 720, JPCC Goldie 42G from JP Cattle Company. If you're marking your card from top down, we go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 4. And the next group in the ring will be the final split of our heifer calves. They will range in age from the 4th of January till the 10th of January. Should be 6 according to my card. And our judge with his comments.
As we progress into these older heifers, without a doubt, we have a lot of weight and size and power among all of these heifers, and definitely a heifer in front is all of that. She's maybe a nickel big for me, and I'd like to make her a bit better movement, but without a doubt, she's the most powerful in this class. She's the straightest through her spine and has the most amount of rib and bone and ties it in the smoothest package of any of them in this class. Definitely a good, powerful, long, heavy heifer in first. Heifer in second, real easy moving heifer, moves a little bit better than really all in the class. Just maybe gives up a bit too much power and rib shape is the one in front of her to come in front of her, but definitely a good, fresh, easy moving heifer in second. The next heifer in line just doesn't quite have that depth to that flank and isn't quite as tidy in her makeup as the ones that have been winning the class, but definitely a stretchy, long-spined heifer in third place. Young man in fourth, definitely a heifer that has some weight. She's powerful, a lot of bone amount underneath of her. I'd tidy up her tailhead and her front end up a little bit, but definitely the young man has a powerful, heavy heifer that he's leading around the ring here today. The black heifer that finishes this line off, just we need to make her a little more coordinated in her movement and change her structure on both ends just to increase her quality, slope to her shoulder, but definitely heavy at the ground, lots of foot size and diameter bone, really lots of weight to all five of these heifers out in front of us here.
Thank you, Justin. Results of this class. First place goes to entry number 726, Knack Zoe 22G, bred by or owned by Northern Light Simmentals. Second place to entry 724, JHM Miss 91G from McCrusty Livestock. Third place to entry 722, WILC Gia 41G from Wilcox Simmentals. Fourth place to entry 727, WILC Gwen 9G from Wilcox Simmentals. Fifth place to entry 723, TCW Gypsy 29G from Twin Meadows Livestock. If you're marking your card, we go from the top down, 3, 5, 2, and then did not show 1 and 4. So we now move to our champion heifer calf. So we will have the top two from each of the previous 4 splits back in the ring.
We'll now hear some comments from our judge, Kirk Seaborn.
Good day, everybody. I'm Kirk Seaborn from Rocky Mountain House. I'd like to thank the Manitoba AgX and the Shorthorn breeders for allowing me to participate in the Shorthorn show today. We're going to start off with an exceptional heifer class. Pretty tight group here in terms of birth weight, so I'm starting off with a big, powerful white heifer who I feel is very complete and structurally sound. She gets out and moves well. She's got a lot of depth and great rib shape, depth, smooth front end. She just puts a lot together in her makeup, followed by the attractive roan heifer who in her own right gives nothing to the white heifer. I just felt perhaps a bit on performance measurements. She maybe didn't offer quite as much as the white heifer, but very attractive, sound-made female. She's got a lot of depth and base to her, just gives up a bit of performance. Third heifer, attractive in her own right, could perhaps give her a bit better mobility in terms of her stride. She's a bit short-strided, and change her up a bit in her angulation of her front end would perhaps improve her in that regard. And the next heifer in class and followed by the next one are fairly close to one another in terms of their makeup, and I'd just like to refine them a bit in their structure and give them a bit more depth and width of round and rib width just give up quite a bit to the heifers above them. So thanks a lot.
And first place in this class goes to entry 604, that is Fendale Supernova 1G, CLF and RSB Cattle Company. And second place was Hawkins Sparkling Star 41G with Hawkins Shorthorns. And third was Uluru Spoil Me 5G, CLF and RSB Cattle Company. Fourth, Mosside Glenora with Mosside Shorthorns. And finally, fifth, Mosside Gilly, also with Mosside Shorthorns. Up next, we will have split number 2 from class 600, born on or after January 1st, 2019.
And our judge with his comments before he slaps his champion heifer calf.
Well, without a doubt, there's some options out here, some unique options. As a judge, I do try to be as consistent as I can, so you can kind of, you follow what the kind that I like and the kind that I try to strive for. And I think there's a lot of heifers out here that have a lot of good in them. There's some differences among all these, but I think a lot of good-looking heifers out here that all these people that are showing these should be really proud of what they've brought out. Definitely the quality bar has been set quite high for us to start off the Simmental show. But with those few words, I'll go slap a couple champions. Congratulations to everyone in the ring.
The award for the champion heifer calf, by the way, will be sponsored by McIntosh Ranch, and when it's awarded in just a few moments. So our champion heifer calf is entry 716. And that is double bar D Morgan 430G from Longview Angus. And the reserve is entry 709 HFL Emma 916G from Horner Cattle Company. Congratulations to all of the entries in the ring, and especially those two. We now begin our bred heifer section. And the first group in the arena, according to my sheet, should total 6 entries. And we have an age range from the 23rd of February, to the 22nd of January. So we've got a month split in age between the group in the ring. Judge with his comments now on this group of heifers.
These first four heifers, are all their own type and kind. The one out in front here, I think, just excels in terms of overall length. She's long from end to end. She's long fronted. She's long in her rib and long in her hip. She's clean through her front end, especially through her throat. She's fresh, smooth through her shoulder. Maybe gives up a hair, a bone and rib shape than what I do like. But I do like how straight topped she is and fresh she is through her front end. You could see this heifer just keeping on getting better as time goes on. Just a real attractive type of heifer. In second place, definitely has a little more shape to her stifle. Maybe that's just the extra condition she has over the heifer in first. But ideally, I just like to change the slope to her shoulder. If we could give her a little more slope to her shoulder, allow her to reach out with that front leg a little more, and then that in turn would make her a little longer through the front end, especially compared to the one in front of her and behind her. But definitely her power and her size and her mass is why she's over the heifer in third. Heifer in third, definitely a really unique heifer. I could see a lot of people really enjoying this heifer for her freshness, for her cleanness. Without a doubt, she's got a unique look in terms of attractiveness. For me, I'd like to just change up the way she is made in terms of a little bit more mass. I'd like to make her a little more level from hook to pin, raise those pins up a little bit, make her a little more square to her hip, but just give her a little more dimension to her overall mass. Without a doubt, here comes the mass right in behind her. She's long, she's powerful. She's definitely an intriguing heifer. You weren't quite sure what to do with her off the bat. That the way she is on the back rear feet definitely brings her down to this lineup. It's disappointing when it's like that, but definitely you have to admire the length and power she has. Right behind her is a red heifer. Just doesn't quite have that same attractiveness as the ones that are up in front of her, all four in front of her. Just a really good, solid heifer in fourth. Finished off with the line with a heifer that needs a little more slope to her shoulder. She needs to flow a little bit better in her movement. She needs a little bit more strength to her back leg. But all in all, some interesting heifers in this lineup.
Thank you, Justin. First place in that class went to entry number 731, Double Bar D Brett, 536F from Double Bar D Farms. Second place to entry 733, Knack Merlot, 92F from Northern Light Simmentals. Third place to entry 728, KCH Cream Soda Pop, 814F from Justin Carvey. Fourth place to entry 730, BFJV Shania's Prophet, FO82, shown by Crow Brothers. Fifth place to entry 729, Miss Russellvalia, 58F, shown by Creekside Cattle Company. And sixth place to entry 732, City View Boss Lady, 73F, shown by City View Simmentals. Five heifers in the ring now, and they range in age from the 21st of January till the 2nd of January.
With our second class of shorthorn heifers here, a bit different of a group. I think we'll start off with the first two females who I think come ahead right away in terms of big performance females who certainly describe what the beef industry requires. They're smooth, strong, powerful females. The heifer in second maybe gives up a bit of refinement through her front end and a bit of perhaps smoothest throughout. Heifer in third place, the roan, she's a pretty complete, thorough female. Gives up a bit of power through the top end to the heifers above her, but very long, smooth made kind of a female, gets out on the move right nicely. The heifer following her gives up a bit of the hip dimension that I'd like to see. Certainly doesn't give up on muscle and thickness, but just gives up a bit of that dimension in the hip structure and perhaps length of spine. Heifer next to her just gives up a bit of the depth and total volume that we'd like to see, and perhaps readjust the hip angles there and get her a bit better on the move. But nice females all the same. Thanks.
And we take a look from the results from split number 2. Coming in first was Hatfield Baroness 9G with Hatfield Shorthorns. In second was JT Betsy 27G, that's Poplar Park Farm. To third, ST Betsy 1G, also Poplar Park Farm. In fourth was Headley Jessie 10G with Headley Livestock. And 5, Headley Muffin 13G, also with Headley Livestock. We are seeing 5 more calves in the ring. 4 more calves in the ring. Split number 3, born on or after January 1st.
And Justin with his comments on this second split of bred heifers.
There's kind of, for me, a top pair of heifers out here. Definitely the two of them are opposites. The one in first, I guess for me, it's just it's the shoulder and the maternal freshness that she has. You know, she's a little smoother from in her shoulder. Doesn't quite have that same boldness, but more importantly, she just doesn't have that same. She's fresher through that crest. The heifer in second's just a little cresty, a little bold, and as the heifer in first is just a little more maternal looking through her front end for me. I know the heifer in second just has a little more bulge to her muscle and her rib shape. You know, for me, I just like to smooth her and her all out from end to end and just give her a little more maternal a look. The two of them, I was just a little on the edge. You know, the heifer in first, I would like to see a little more teat spread on that udder. I was just debating, you know, honestly, just between the two of them, whether I was going to switch them just for that. But I'm not sure if the one in second. I think we need a little more time to fully decide on the difference between these two there. But that's a thing in heifer in third that definitely brought the heifer in third place over the heifer beside her. You know, she's on the edge of even coming up beyond where she's at in terms of her teat size and the other development she has. She just gives up some length of hip that I like to see. You know, I like to change her, give her a little more length and a little more pounds that way and a little more freshness compared to the ones in front. But I do like the teat freshness compared to the one especially behind her. The heifer in fourth place, a power kind of a heifer. We really need to put some spread in those back teats and change the way her udder structure looks. But I do like the strength she has in her top and the amount of pounds and weight she has. And that's why she's over the heifer that ends line. Just gives up a bit of that mass and the rib and muscle shape needed to compete with the heifers in front of her. But all in all, interesting heifers in front of us.
Thank you, Justin. First place in this class goes to entry number 737, HFL Emma 8003F from Longview Angus. Second place to entry 734, Come As You Are Lynette, 826F from Come As You Are. Third place to entry 735, JPCC Candy, 29F, shown by JP Cattle Company. Fourth place to entry 740, City View Nordica, 5F, shown by City View Simmentals. And fifth place to entry 738, Delight Jackie, 213F from Delight Simmentals. Again, on your card, from the top down, 2, 3, 1, 5, and 4. And we'll have the top two placings from the last two classes come back in the arena to choose our champion junior female. Our judge for today is Justin Morrison. He and his wife, Tanya, operate Brookings Angus Ranch at Radville, Saskatchewan. They have 3 children, Cordell, Kiefer, and Adelia. They run approximately 200 purebred cows, have a female sale in November and a bull sale in March. And the ring stewards today are Andrea Bertholet and Melissa McRae. The junior champion female, which will be awarded in just a few moments, sponsored by Downhill Simmentals, and the reserve champion junior female, sponsored by Rainbow River Simmentals. And my apologies, I forgot to announce the sponsorship for the reserve champion heifer calf. It was Bert's and our Simmentals. Our judge now.
Well, it's always interesting as we progress with age, in these divisions, just to kind of see how, they develop, and it's definitely harder to get to each stage. That's a reason why there's always less in each division as we go on, because there's so many hurdles that all these animals go through throughout the entire their lifetime, and how difficult it is to get them to this point and to get them to a high level at this point. But with that said, I'll just, with those few words, I'm going to go slap a couple champions. Congratulations to everyone in the ring.
I'll start this class off with two females that are clear head and tails above the rest in terms of their huge performance. I guess it boils down to me in terms of hip structure, and I think the heifer on top here just has a little more pin dimension and leveler through her hip design. I think a little more balanced that way. Very strong top females and still smooth through their fronts. Pretty big performance females. The heifer in third place gives up a bit on performance, well, a fair bit to these two ahead of her. Still got some length of spine in her and some shape, smoothness through the front, and gets out on the move well. Heifer below her marginally gives up a bit in terms of structure, and front shoulder angles could be a bit better, and through the hip design she's not quite as free moving and just doesn't get out on the move quite as well, but nice heifers.
In the Simmental ring, the champion yearling heifer, junior champion, awarded to Double Bar D Brett 536F, shown by Double Bar D Farms, and the reserve to 733 NAC Merlot 92F from Northern Lights Simmentals.
And we take a look at the results from split number 3 for class 600. Starting with first place was entry 612, and that is Herborn SVC Gala Ruby 1G with Herborn Shorthorns. And second was entry 610 with Herborn SVC Groovy Ruby 4G with Herborn Shorthorns. Third place, entry 613 NVR Gingers Jillian's 77G with New View Ranch. And fourth was entry 614, Mosside Marquette with Mosside Shorthorns. And we had entry 611 as a scratch. We are moving on to split number 4 of class 600.
And now entering the Simmental Arena, we have our 2-year-old female class with our natural calf at foot. We have 4 entries according to my sheet. winners of this class will be our senior champion female and reserve senior champion female.
Well, absolutely. You know, one of the stronger classes we've seen all day. You know, really all four of these cows are good quality cows. As a judge, it's really nice when you have especially the top two pair like this. You know, both these pairs are high-end caliber females. You know, the black cow in first, it's hard to deny the mass that she does have, the amount of rib she has, and yet still is clean through her front end. You know, that's ideally what we're looking for is females that look like females but still have mass and rib. And sometimes it's a hard combination to achieve. And this cow does it. You know, her calf is a good quality calf. I don't know if the calf's quite as good, the same level as the cow. Ideally, you know, we change the udder. There's no denying that on the cow. But I do like her type. You know, this is the way we like them. You know, her style and mass and a really high quality cow. The red pair in second, again, a high quality cow. I like the cow. She's pretty. She's has rib shape. She has a nice teat size. A little higher quality udder than the one in first. I will give her that. I do like the mass that her calf has. She just gives up a bit of that overall mass and that width and mass to her rib cage. It's a disappointment when you own females like this that you get beat. But it definitely two high quality cows in first and second. Young man in third place, a good udder on that female, definitely doing a good job on her calf. She gives up a bit of that bulk in her rump and the width to her pins is the two in front of her. But a real good quality pair in third, doing a good job on her calf. And I guess the quality of the calf is why she's over the one in fourth. The larger frame cow at the end of the line, I like her length and the amount of extension she has from end to end. Her calf is what's holding me up here. You know, the calf definitely has size, but it's just not the same kind in terms of type as the ones in front of her. Maybe some change up and some breed up decisions on her going down the line, but all in all, an impressive group of cows in front of us here.
Thank you, Justin. And winner of this class and then also Grand Champion Senior Female will be entry 741 Wheatland Lady 7113E from Wheatland Cattle Company and Michelin Land and Cattle Company. Second place goes to entry 742 Sunny Valley Peyton 77E, shown by Ultra Livestock, and she will be the reserve senior champion. Third place goes to entry 743 RJY Pocahontas 41E, shown by Northern Light Simmentals. And fourth place to entry 744 Double Bar D Pepsi 436E, shown by Longview Angus. The Senior Champion Award sponsored by Pure Country Simmentals, and the Reserve Senior Champion Award sponsored by TriStar Simmentals. We thank them for that sponsorship. So we now move to the Grand and Reserve Grand Champion females.
We'll now hear some words from our judge.
I'd like to start the class off with the big red heifer here, who I think is pretty all-around great heifer, great front end, a lot of power and strength, length of spine. I think she's a nice female. Heifer in second, I could go either way. Certainly two different types of females. This heifer in second's got a lot of great expression to her, powerful, deep, thick female, a lot of shape and style to her. I think it boils down to maybe some teat size for me, which is a big thing. It's just something that I can't overlook. So I think that's the reason why I've placed them the way that I have here today. Otherwise, it could have gone some other swap way. Heifer in third, I think just has a little more balanced dimension to the heifer below her in terms of hip structure and smoothness throughout. Just has a little more dimension to her and a little more shape to her than the heifer on the bottom here, who's a little bit greener, but still a nice female. Got a lot of depth and shape to her, but just gives up some power and pin dimension there. Thank you.
And to recap, split number 4, entry number 618 in first place. That's Hawken Glowing Fire 4G with Hawken Shorthorns. Entry 617 in second place, Hawken Giggle Girl 1G with Hawken Shorthorns. Entry 616 in third, Vanridge Ella Gypsy 71G with Vanridge Cattle Company Incorporated. And entry 615, NVR Electra's Gloria 72G with New View Ranch in fourth place. And that is the final split for the category of Class 600. Coming up next, we are going to get to the champion female calf. And this is sponsored by Hargrave Shorthorns, Greg and Kathy Tuff Hargrave. Manitoba Reserve Champion, sponsored by Bell M Farms, the Mullenbeck family in Saskatchewan. And ladies and gentlemen, our AgX 2019 Shorthorn Lassie is Miss Trudy Smart from Balder, Manitoba. Trudy's family raised commercial cattle home at the farm, and she, along with her brother Jordan, are now building their own herds of purebred Shorthorns. Trudy, the Manitoba Shorthorn Association, thanks you dearly for representing our breed and being today's Lassie.
Well, on the Simmental side of the ring here, you know, there's lots of good females out here and throughout the entire day. You know, there's no arguing the fact that everyone's behind and busy, and there's definitely you know, a struggle to get here for some people, you know, even myself included. But hats off to all the people that did come out here and support the show and support the marketing endeavors of their programs. I'm sure there's a lot of people online at home watching this or listening to this from the seat of a combine cab or a truck or something like that. So hopefully we have a few weeks here left of nice weather so everyone can keep on getting the work done. But with that, there's not much to say here. There's a couple favorites out here, and I'd like to congratulate everyone out in the ring and everyone that made it to town here to support the show, and congratulations to everyone in among the exhibitors here today.
Thank you, Justin. And so your grand champion female is Wheatland Lady 7113E from Wheatland Cattle Company and Mickelson Land and Cattle. And your reserve champion is Sunny Valley Peyton 77E from Ultra Livestock. That's your grand champion and reserve champion females of this year's Simmental show. I understand we will have a 20-minute break before we start the bulls. And the Grand Champion Female Award, sponsored by the Pembina Triangle Simmental Association. And the Reserve Grand Champion Female Award, sponsored by M&J Farms, Simmentals and Angus. So we will be beginning the bull show just somewhere right around 11 o'clock.
I'd like to go with these two red heifers, top of the heifer champion class. I think they both possess what I think would be described as total completeness in terms of capacity, productivity, structural soundness, and I think in terms of looking towards the future, I think they have long, productive lives ahead of them. I think they've got length of spine, they've got depth. I think the heifer in first maybe gives a bit more boldness to the heifer below her, a bit more heel in the foot. I think just a little bit more in that regard. Next week it could be different, but I think this is the way that I see it today. Two exceptional heifers. Well done. Thanks, Monty. Good job. Well done.
Okay, so your champion female calf was entry 618. That was Hawken Glowing Fire 4G from Hawken Shorthorns. And the reserve was entry 609, Hatfield Baroness 9G, that with Hatfield Shorthorns. So stick around as we're going to get into our next category, class 607. Class 603, pardon me. And this is the Bred Heifer class. Entering the ring now. We'll now hear a few words from our judge, Kirk Seaborn.
Three very impressive bred heifers here in front of us. I've placed them this way, I guess, in terms of the heifer I have in first. She's certainly got huge volume about her. I think she's as sound on her legs and feet as you'll find. Great dimension through her hip, good clean front shoulder and hip design, maybe clean her up through the brisket a bit, but she's got a tremendous base to her, and it carries right on through the entire animal. Very beautiful heifer. Heifer in second is certainly a long spine female. I certainly admire her for that and her dimension and capacity throughout. I'd like to strengthen her up in her foot design and maybe some refinement on her teats. Heifer in third place, another attractive heifer, just gives up volume and power to the heifers above her, but a tremendous long spined and very productive looking female, a great future ahead of her.
And we'll go over the results once more from Class 603. The bred heifers in first place was Mirrodale J, 34F, CLF, and SRB Cattle Company. That's entry 621. In second place was entry 619, Sask Valley Peggy, 210F from Sask Valley Stock Farm. And third place was entry 620 with 30D Isabel 28F from Trailside Cattle Company. Entering the ring now, Class 604, born January 1st of 2018 to March 31st of 2018.
Pardon me? And so the first class hitting the ring in our Simmental show, the bull calf class, with a split in age from the 21st of February till the 18th of January. 5 entries on my card. Our judge with his comments.
Well, switching gears into the bull show here, definitely these first three are masculine, powerful bulls. But this red bull up at the front of the line, he just excelled in good hoof quality. He's masculine. He's just a little looser moving than the one in second, but more importantly, just a little more wealth of muscle down his top and into his shoulder. He's just a little broader right behind his shoulder and just carries a little more wealth of muscle all the way down his top. I definitely like the shape to his muscle and the shape to his rib cage. He's got some hair to him. Just a rugged masculine beef bull here in first. One in second, I'd like to just and even on the first bull, just as well as on the second, just change up his movement, make him a little easier on the move. But he gave up a little bit of that dimension to the outer turn of his top and the muscle down in his loin and forward as the one in front of him. But a deep-bodied a bull that stands on some bone. And just I do like how his nuts are a little cleaner haired than the one right in front of him. Bull in third, we got to change up the ground on the front end here on this guy to be considered at the top end here. But I do like his weight and the length of spine he has and the muscle he does has. We just got to change him up at the front on the ground, especially his front right. We step in behind two bulls that definitely don't have the same management practices as other ones in terms of getting some weight to them, but definitely a good, solid type of bulls that finish this line off, though. Congratulations to everyone.
Thank you. Results of this class then. First place went to entry 750, City View Great Gun 68G, shown by City View Simmentals. Second to entry 749, East Poplar 38B Hitter 944G, shown by East Poplar Simmentals. Third place to entry 752, HFL Endgame 911G, shown by Horner Cattle Company. Fourth place to entry 747, MLD Gordy 112G, from Furdale Simmentals. And fifth place to entry 746, Delight Rock Solid 362G, shown by Delight Simmentals. On your card then from the top down, 5, 4, 2, 1, and 3. And now entering the ring will be our second and final split of bull calves. Our show photographers today are show champions. If you go to www.showchampions.com, you can search for images, shop online, and download instantly. Pleased to have Joanne here also on behalf of Simmental Focus, taking pictures and taking notes. And this class is our second split of Simmental bull calves, range in age from the 3rd of January to the 16th of January. 5 entries.
I'd like to start the bred heifer class off here with this beautiful light roan heifer. I think overall she's a little more sound than the rest in terms of her mobility and her leg and hip, shoulder structure, foot design. I'd maybe penalize her a bit for being a bit over-conditioned for where she should be this stage in her life, but overall I think she comes ahead in terms of overall structure and dimension. Heifer in second, I admire her power and her length of spine, and overall she's just a real powerful female. Just gives up a bit in that hip design and gets a little turned out on for me, so in terms of her back leg structure. Heifer in third place gives up some of the power. Again, rear end, a bit of redesign in that aspect might help her a bit, but a nice female. She's where she needs to be right now in her life. Heifers, and the two bottom heifers here, just give up a bit in terms of structural finesse, but just the same, they're two females that are where they need to be in their lives, and they're going to certainly provide some future for the owners that own them. Long-bodied.
And we go over your results from Class 604. Coming in first place was entry 623, JT Florence 2F. It's from Headley Livestock. Second was 626, Up the Creek Donna 1F from Up the Creek Cattle Company Limited. Third place was entry 622, JT Terra 70F from Trailside Cattle Company. Apologies, folks. In fourth was Little Valley Princess from Little Valley Livestock, and fifth was entry 625 with Up the Creek Cheyenne 6F from Up the Creek Cattle Company Limited. And entering the ring, we have the Shorthorn Champion Junior Female sponsors. The champion by Herborn Shorthorns, Bill and Isabel Atkinson. Somerset, Manitoba, Reserve Champion, Moss-Side Shorthorn, Jeff and Grayson Ross, Brandon, Manitoba.
Well, in this second Simmental Bull class here, the first and second place bulls really similar in type and kind. I guess maybe the one in first here, for me, he just seems to flow in his top a little bit better. He looks a little sounder in his hoof quality than the one in second. The one in second definitely just maybe it's the way he's behaving today, just doesn't seem to flow as nice in his top and his movement. But just these two bulls are real similar in type and kind and need to stick together. In third place, a bull different in type yet. Fairly sound in his movement, but just gives up that rib shape and that, for the frame size that he has, he needs to be just a little more massive in his design for his size. We just ideally like to decrease his frame and increase his mass a little bit, but definitely a long bull. And he isn't perfect in his movement, but he is better than the two behind him. The black cat, only black one in the class here. If we could just give him a little more stretch in his movements on both his front end and back end. Definitely a bull that has some size and some weight to him, but just need to free him up to bring him higher in the class. The red guy at the end of the line, again, we need to move his move or change his movement. Not sure if he's even sore. We just need to change up the way he is on that way to get him into the top end of this class. But definitely a bull that has some rib and does have some shape to him. But all in all, a top pair that match up nicely here.
Thank you. Results then of this class. Our first place awarded to entry 753, Come As You Are, Top Game 8G from Come As You Are. Second place to entry 756, Come As You Are, Octane 7G, again from Come As You Are. Third place to entry 754, Double Bar D Bankroll 9400G from Longview Angus. Fourth place to entry 757, WILC Greg 35G from Wilcox Simmentals. And fifth place to entry 760, Cityview Goliath 4G from Cityview Simmentals. We'll have the top two from each of those sections back in the ring to pick our champion bull calf. and our judge as he chooses the champion bull calf.
Well, there's not as many in this contemporary as we saw maybe in the same age group as the heifers, but one of the reasons is we always have a lot higher expectations and bulls. The influence that one bull has over a program is immense, and I think that's why there's always less, because we all have a lot more higher requirements of what we find as a top quality capable of coming to town, and more importantly, the top quality capable of buying or breeding your own females. With that, I think there's 4 good bulls out here that definitely would do good for lots of operations, and I have a couple favorites, and I'm going to go slap them here right in front of us now here.
And so your grand champion bull calf is entry 750, the entry of City View Great Guns, 68G, the entry of City View Simmentals. And reserve goes to entry 749, East Poplar 38B, hitter 944G from East Poplar Simmentals. And the award for the champion bull calf, sponsored by our Prairie Partners. The award for the reserve champion bull calf, sponsored by WLB Livestock.
In our bred heifer group, I'd like to move ahead with these 2 females. I think overall they combine a lot of the things we're looking for. They're complete in their makeup. They're sound enough in their structure and overall balance. They're great-footed. They're long-bodied, good depth and roundness to them. They're good females. I think the heifer I have in first place is just a little squarer made. A little more fluid on the move, and just gives up the second heifer in second place gives up a little bit in terms of that mobility, but that's just very, very slightly in my eyes. So 2 great heifers.
So once again, for the champion junior female, you're in the Shorthorn ring. 621, entry 621, that's Meredale J, 34F with CLF and RSB Cattle Company. And the reserve champion is 619, Sask Valley Peggy, 210F from Sask Valley Stock Farm. So again, your sponsors, the champion by Herborn Shorthorns, that's Bill and Isabel Atkinson from Somerset, Manitoba. And for your reserve champion, that's Mosside Shorthorn, Jeff and Grayson Ross from Brandon, Manitoba. We see some more entries into the ring as we get set for class 607. That is female, born January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2017 with 2019 natural calf at foot.
We have no entries in our junior bull division, so we then go to the senior bull class, and we have 1 entry in this class.
Well, this individual bull in this class definitely would have handled some competition. I like the way this bull is in a lot of directions. He's long through his body, long fronted, he's masculine, yet has a clean look to him. He gets out there and moves pretty good with the stride. He's got good scrotal size and development for him. I like his freshness, but yet still has some masculinity and some muscle to him. Really good, long, impressive looking bull here in front of us. Congratulations to this guy out in front of us here.
So our senior champion bull is entry 763, Bailey's One of a Kind, and exhibited by Crow Brothers. And the senior champion bull award sponsored by Delight Simmentals. So we'll move now to our final individual class, and that'll be the selection of the Grand Champion Bull. The Grand Champion Bull Award will be sponsored by the Keystone Simmental Association, and the Reserve Grand Champion Award sponsored by Agland Farms Limited. And our judge, Justin Morrison, with his comments.
Well, I guess not as many on the bull side as the female side, but really three really good-looking individuals in front of us here, all with kind of their own characteristics about them, but definitely bulls that are beneficial bulls to a lot of programs, and there's always things that people need in their own programs to advance to get to their goals, and I think these are kind of bulls that can help people achieve those kind of goals. With that said, thanks for having me out here judge the Simmentals. I guess I'll be out here a little later for the Hereford show, but all in all, an impressive group to all the exhibitors that brought cattle out in front of us here today, that made the effort to come here and showcase some really tough classes out there. We saw a lot of good cattle throughout the day in the Simmental show. And with that said, I'm going to go slap some champions, but everyone put your hands together for the exhibitors that brought everything in front of us today here.
And your Grand Champion Simmental Bull for the 2019 AgX Simmental Show is entry 763, Bailey's One of a Kind, shown by Crow Brothers. And the Reserve Champion comes from the calf class, is entry number 750, City View Great Gun 68G, shown by City View Simmentals. And again, those awards sponsored by the Keystone Simmental Association for the Grand Champion and Agland Farms for the Reserve Grand Champion. So we now have a couple of group classes, and that will complete the Simmental show. While we're bringing the groups in, we'd like to make the awards for the Premier Breeder and Premier Exhibitor this year. And in both cases, they are awarded to Come As You Are, collecting the most points for Premier Breeder and Premier Exhibitor. If the crew would like to come forward, we'll present them with their awards. Congratulations, folks.
This senior pair class, I'd like to move ahead with the big, white, powerful female. I think she's very sound in her makeup. I admire her for length and volume and roundness, and just a pretty complete kind of female. Beautiful udder, good attachment, teat size. She's got a whale of a bull calf on her. Maybe like to free him up a bit, but he still strides completely. A lot of muscle mass to him and good performance to him. He's quite a calf to be proud of. Second in the class, a very youthful, beautiful female. I certainly admire her udder structure and design. She's certainly working hard and looks the part of a great female. She's a good one with a nice heifer calf at her side. Female in third, big, powerful roan female. Just an exceptional calf at her side. She's maybe not moving as well as she should on the hind end, and I'd like to see a bit more frontal attachment on her udder, but tremendous pair, very well done.
And your results from Class 607, 2-year-old pair. In first, we have entry 629, Hill Haven Picture Passion 23E, CLF and RSB Cattle Company. In second, entry 628, that was Uphill Jesse 22E with Headley Livestock. And in third, entry 627, Hill Haven Stargazer 41E with Hawken Short Horns. And coming up next, entering the Shorthorn Ring right now, we have Class 608, the mature pair that is born on or before December 31st, 2016 with 2019 natural calf at foot.
In our progeny of dam class, first place that was awarded to the Horner Cattle Company entry, the progeny of Double Bar D Emma 418D. Second place went to entry 764, also a Horner Cattle Company entry, this time the progeny of Jackson Rose 23D. And third place to 766, Wilcox Simmental's entry, DBS Jasmine 1U with the cow's name. In our breeders herd class, we only had one entry, and that was the entry of Horner Cattle Company. That completes the Simmental show for this year. We certainly thank our judge, Justin Morrison from Brooking Angus Ranch, for his deliberations and his comments. I really enjoyed listening to your comments, Justin, throughout the show. And thank you to all of our marshals and ring stewards, secretaries, and everyone else who helped put this thing together.